Welcome to Slim Nation's One-on-One podcast with conversations featuring the host, James Slim Overton.
Well, welcome this morning and welcome to the Slim Nation's One-on-Ones podcast. I'm James Slim Overton and we're here this morning. And before we get started, make sure if you're watching on live on Facebook or our YouTube channel, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and share. It's important that you do that. And we look forward to your comments as well. And this morning we have reoccurring guests. My friend, Dr. Garry Harris, and we always like to bring him back, and either I call him or he reminds me, or there's something going on involving our climate, or any scientific information he wants to pass on to us. And welcome this morning, Garry. How you doing?
Hey man, good morning. Good morning. I'm calling you from the Big Apple this morning.
Yeah.
Hey man, I got on the what train was that? Got on the Q and the one this morning to get in place for you, such that we are here in at Columbia University at the invitation of Jeff Bezos and their Earth Fund.
Yeah.
And Jeff Bezos, as you know, he's the president of Amazon, but he's decided to go after climate. So he's pledging $10 billion.
Oh wow, that's good. That's good,
Yeah,
especially and especially in a climate, in a
yeah,
political climate where we have some people trying to dispel what the scientists say, because of one person or a few people in a party, and we won't go into the politics, but it is what it is. It's out there where you have people saying it's not happening, and it's right there in our face, and the facts are there as well. So before we get started, and it seems like every time we talk, you're somewhere. I think the last time you were in Atlanta or somewhere, but
mhm,
and that's a good thing. You're all over the place, but you always bring that information back to the Tidewater community here, and of course we're most prevalent here on the Tidewater community and Portsmouth, the city that you grew up in, and of course we are seen all over the United States. So, but our focus is this area. So we want to make sure this area gets the information, the right information, the
right.
facts. And before you get started and tell us what's going on with you now with the project, uh, I got a chance to go over to Victory Elementary where they have the STEM program
Oh, great.
for
Yeah.
the elementary
Yeah.
schools, and sat down and had a conversation with two of the STEM teachers there,
Yeah.
and it was very interesting.
Uh,
We always knew about the STEM program and how effective it is and how important it is for those young people, in elementary school.
right.
And but I never gotten a chance to go over to the school and really see the operation, and it's growing so much that they're almost outgrowing the little section of the elementary school they're in.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
they have, and they bring in the students from all over Portsmouth,
Right.
all the elementary schools at different times, and they spend 4 days and then go different categories, space, and all the different things in science and drones, and they do experiments and things like
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's encouraging, because when you have, like I mentioned earlier, you have people that try to say things are not happening, and I don't know why that gets political, but saying things not happening, you have these group of young people that's actually studying that and seeing it at a young age. So they're going to grow into knowing, what we need to do to
Uh-huh.
make the earth safer, better, cleaner, and everything like that. So I'll let you go ahead and Gary, and talk about the project you're involved with now, or uh, it's sort of like an ongoing thing. Different projects come up and funding comes up for it, and that really gets y'all going.
Yeah. Well, let's not leave that topic of, of STEM education and youth engagement and involvement. When I was in the fifth grade, that's when I got my first introduction to real science and such. I took, I ripped a page out of a World Book Encyclopedia and such, and translated that into a science project and won first place. And it was that science project in energy that really propelled me into the energy field and into an energy career. Later combining that with community and sustainability, and that's why I've stood up the organizations I'm working with right now, and also the projects as well. So again, it's a very extraordinary important. I've been in STEM education for about 2.5 decades and such. I've led projects with the 100 Black Men of Atlanta, with NASA Space Grant Consortium. We've started a Smart Academy, uh, Saturday morning academic tutorial program and such. But it's really at the heart of sustainability, i.e., preparing our youth, for those sustainable wage jobs and career pathways in the future, and not only in energy but also in this field as well. It's the sustainability, and making sure that we're sustaining the earth and we're sharing resources, and that we're maintaining our approach to how we live our lives, so that we don't dominate the earth, but we're good stewards of it. And that's an early lesson we can teach to our youth through STEM education and through other means as well. But I'm so excited this morning because again, we're broadcasting here at Columbia University, with the president of the CEO of the Jeff Bezos Earth Fund, and also the president of Columbia University here, to kick off, a session on climate and nature and the use of technology and AI and such, and how we can come together and help to prevent and mitigate and/or adapt to our changing climate, using that new branch of technology in terms of AI. We have approach what we call just science or justice science, where we use science and research and engineering and data science, to focus on environmental justice and inequities like health and economics, etc., and then using that technology like AI to drive out those solutions to help to mitigate impacts in our communities. And that way we can we can uh, we can maximize the benefits. Well, this morning, we're doing the exact same thing. In Portsmouth, I'm so excited to talk about our citywide launch of a community science project where we're trying to get everyone involved in science. Okay, not only the folks over there at Victory who are helping us with this project, but everyone. We want to transform them into a community scientist. And how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to take on climate. So let me ask you something, Mr. Overton. You're a smart guy. What's the number one impact from climate? What's causing more deaths than any other impact from climate? And let me give you some choices. Is it A, tornadoes, B, flooding, C, hurricanes, or D, extreme heat? Which one do you think?
I would say right now, because the last couple of years I heard about extreme heat and I never thought about the extreme heat being a major killer
That's
of people.
absolutely.
Yeah, I just figuring, it's just hot and, we suffer, but it's killing people and it being significantly something we need to look at. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You're spot on. You're spot on. And it is extreme heat. It's just the number one uh, killer, if you would, the number one cause of death from from climate change and such, and it's a number of reasons for that, and such. We sit in our airplanes and we watch the guy out on the tarmac, directing the plane into the port there and such. But we never stop to think, man, it's hot out there.
Hmm.
How is he coping with that? It could be in Las Vegas where I was last year. It was 125 degrees on the tarmac, but yet that brother who's on the tarmac, that UPS driver delivering those packages, that postal service worker, the construction workers who are not only building our buildings but maintaining our buildings as well. So again, it's all about how we can manage extreme heat. Completely within our capability. But when it comes to our cities, it's even harder.
Hmm.
But due to something called the urban heat island effect. Okay, and that's where we got the sun's rays bombarding us every day with this life-giving, nutrition of radiation. Okay, in form of sunlight. It grows the plants. It makes us healthier. It gives us, it warms things up. Etc. It is essential to life that we get the sunlight and that we get this heat from the sun. But because of the way that we built our cities, and in some cases the way in which we built our communities, they're hotter than other places. As much as uh, uh, several degrees hotter and such. So when we have communities, we have workers, having to work in those places, and you have existing disparities, that really causes a problem. So in Portsmouth, we're saying, wait a minute now, we're no different than any other city. We need to look at this as well. So we're standing up a city scale uh, experiment, if you would, where we're deputizing everybody in our communities to be community scientists. And then we're going to send them out doing great stuff around education and awareness building, great stuff around building our capacity in our communities, great stuff around out taking data, okay, and being part of the process. That's what we want. That's what community engagement is. And
Hmm.
we want this to be a community-led effort, i.e., the community is part of this from start to finish. We've got some great folks. We got the Elizabeth River Project. We got the Virginia Wesleyan University. We've got ODU and such. We've got Virginia Institute for Marine Science. We got Star-Based Victory, all part of our cohort, our coalition, if you would. But we need the people to get engaged and involved as well, because we want to make sure that this project is pointed at them. It
Hmm.
maximizes the benefits of them. Okay, and then maybe as as we talked about earlier, politics is in everything. So maybe not only do this great experiment, around extreme heat, but also get some policy in place. You know,
Right.
perhaps there's a policy enforcement that says, hey, if you cut down a tree, you got to plant two trees. You know,
Hmm.
maybe there's a policy enforcement that says, hey, before you cut down a tree, you got to get a permit.
Right.
Maybe there's a policy enforcement that says, hey, any urban heat island, will be mitigated by a cooling station, et cetera, et cetera. So we were fortunate enough to be at the National Academies of Science uh, about 6 months ago with a number of stakeholders from around the country to come up with a list of stuff, that cities can do, practical stuff. It is within our power to mitigate this. But at the same time, it's extremely harmful. It is the number one cause of death related to climate and such. We hear about the hurricanes, we hear about the tornadoes, we see the flooding and such, but extreme heat is the number one killer.
Gary, I want to say the two things you brought up. I'm glad you brought up the thing about the cities being involved, and especially community. I mean, individuals being involved in making sure that we are aware of this, because very, very seldom is climate, talked about on the local level
That's why
when
we're
you
talking
talk about local government. And when we talk about everything and everything, but we kind of ignore that. And like I said earlier, it's right in our face. And it's a lot of things that we can be doing, like you just mentioned, as a city. The simple thing, and going back to the elementary school, one of the things you learn in science is how important the vegetation is, the trees, and as to, what it, how to our existence. And we don't even think about that now. Like you said, we've cut down all these trees for development, and Mother Nature, I mean nature, put those trees here for a reason. So if you cut some down, you have to make sure you replace them at some point. And that's just a small gesture you can do for going down the road. So yeah, thanks for mentioning that. And I think we just have to make the localities more aware of how they need to be more involved, because whatever the department would be looking into that, environmental services, I guess, you would have to bring in somebody that's, uh, educated in the climate, and every once in a while give reports on that, because sometimes in the locality, if somebody dies from extreme heat, you don't know that that's why that person died.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, it might be a little piece somewhere where it said they died from extreme heat, but I've never seen that in an obituary that somebody died from extreme heat. Uh, there's
well, well,
complications or something,
well.
but go ahead.
It may not be directly from extreme heat, but maybe extreme heat was a complicating factor. You know, in that they had in our communities we have existing health disparities. For instance,
Mhm.
we have. Uh, we have diabetes, we have respiratory disease, asthma rates high. We're doing a citywide uh, health disparities action right now on hypertension and high blood pressure, and
Mhm.
also breast cancer. Those mortality rates in our city are extremely skewed when it comes to the rest of the state. Now we pile on top of that emissions from transportation, air pollution. We pile on top of that housing disparities. We pile on top of that uh, disparities in food, etc.
Mhm.
And then we have the and then we send this person out to work in extreme heat, to make a living. So it's a contributing factor as well. You know, extreme heat can be dangerous and let's just look at some of the facts here when it comes to extreme heat. Extreme heat can be dangerous and deadly. Extreme heat can cause heat exhaustion, which occurs when the body overheats. Extreme heat can cause heat stroke. How about that?
Mhm.
Which is a life-threatening medical emergency. Extreme heat can cause headaches. It can disrupt sleep and slow cognition and constrain the heart and kidneys and trigger sudden events like heart attacks or stroke. How about that? Extreme heat can worsen existing medical conditions. That's like we talked about, like kidney or lung disease. Extreme heat can cause the body to become dehydrated. Extreme heat can cause sweat to not evaporate very well, etc. It can cause severe illness or even death. One of the first symptoms that many people that they're getting into trouble with heat is confusion and such. And then women working outdoors can suffer rashes and miscarriages and such, urinary tract infections, dizziness, nausea, blisters, and more. So this is what we're talking about. We're talking about the mitigating extreme heat to preclude all this stuff from happening. So how are we going to do that? Well, in Portsmouth, we're going to do a great experiment, and we're in the process of naming our project right now. But right now, what we're going to do, we're going to cool down P Town,
Mhm.
okay, and beat the heat. Okay, so that's our out of the box slogan. That's going to change, but that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to cool down P Town and beat the heat, so that we can prevent all this stuff from happening as we talked about before. You know, so how are we going to do that? We're basically going to we're going to try to do this citywide, but we're going to focus in on the communities where there's already some existing disparities, where we got some mapping tools that say, hey, this community here uh, uh, is already disadvantaged, is already vulnerable, and let's focus on that. And then we'll use some other climate vulnerability tools, maybe a social vulnerability index, to help us pick out maybe 10 or so communities in Portsmouth to focus on. But it's going to be a citywide effort. We're going to have T-shirts and balloons and and social gatherings around the stream heat project and such. It's going to last for 2 years. It's just we got a great grant from the U.S. From the Forest Service Department for the state of Virginia. A very, very generous grant. We all won. Uh, I want to caution you, though, this is not being driven by a grant. This is being driven by the need to mitigate a very, very deadly, a very, very deadly phenomena, and we've done it in Virginia Beach. We've done it partially in Norfolk, and other cities around the country have done it. We need to do it here in Portsmouth as well. Our citizens are just as vulnerable, even more so and such, given their age and also given the communities that they live in. So we're gonna pick out communities which are most vulnerable and such. We're gonna bring together teams of people and train them with our mapping instrumentation and such. We're gonna get folks in their cars or even walking around as well, and and do this survey or mapping, if you would,
Hmm.
in the middle of the summer. Then we're going to take that data, and evaluate it, and just ask ourselves, well, hey, if it's harder over here in this community, maybe we need to maybe we need to plant some more trees, or maybe we need to plant some more shrubs, or maybe we need to remove some concrete, or maybe we need a cooling station, or maybe we need a resilience hub. In other words, the data is going to drive us to take action.
Right.
It's just that we can mitigate all this stuff that I talked about from extreme heat. This is, when we're approaching this with a sense of urgency, a sense of importance, and we're not going to be distracted, by what's going on around us and such. This is important. So we're taking this on head on.
Yeah, I think that awareness is so important, and we have a big homeless community here in the city
That's
of
right.
Portsmouth,
That's right.
and we have, and it seems like the summers have been getting hotter. But I,
That's
I
right.
can remember when growing up here, it used to get hot, and as children, the parents always sent us outside,
Uh-huh.
but and so we were kind of used to the heat, and it used to be hot, but seems like I don't know. It's because we're older, but I think that's not the case because it's been proven. Seems like the summers have been getting hotter and
They are
hotter,
getting hotter. They are getting
and
hotter.
and just to provide for those homeless people out there, So in Portsmouth, if you go in the summertime, if you go to the library, all of a sudden the library is packed
And
with
that's a good
people.
thing. That's a good thing.
Uh, I guess it's a good thing that people are being educated, but most people are going in there to get cool. Going in public places, which
Uh-huh.
Portsmouth has places for homeless to go. Like you mentioned, cooling stations, but probably needs to be more, and they're building a place. But we have to think about that, and
That's
not
right.
only homeless, not everybody, even in this day, 2024, not everybody has air conditioning.
That's right. That's right. That's right. You
You
know
know,
what? Go ahead. Go ahead.
go ahead.
No, you know what? I walk the community almost every day, whether it's Cavalier Manor or some other community. I'm out there, uh, whether it's raining, whether it's snowing, whatever, But you know what? One of the things I notice when I walk in the community uh, uh, is that there are a lot of homes with a single air conditioner in the window and such, and it's an older home, a single air conditioning window, cooling the entire house.
Yeah,
That still exists. It's 2024. That still exists and
yeah,
such. So imagine grandma, in that house, and that air conditioning unit breaks, and she has to sit there, Lord, 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 send me a new air conditioner, send me a new air conditioner. Well, maybe we can stand up a replacement program,
hmm,
that goes around and says, hey, if your air conditioner is 15 years old and on its last leg, we're going to give you a new one. and such. Or if your central air is not working the way it should be, and you're financially strapped, we got some pro bono services over here that's going to fix this. Or if you are already facing many health disparities and economic disparities and such, and you can't get that AC unit fixed, we're going to help you. So
Right.
that's the sort of things that can come out of this, out of the study. Again, not trying to just plant trees, very important,
Hmm.
extremely important, and such, but also to take the necessary action to mitigate this problem, and that's what this is going to take. It's going to take
Yeah.
it's going to take authentic, genuine, committed community engagement on everyone's part, city government, elected officials, university officials, uh, community-based organizations like ours. It's going to take a genuine engagement. Next, it's going to take the use of technology, just science, okay, and using that science. And I'm going to try and slip in some AI. I'm learning all
Yeah.
this stuff here at Columbia University, and Jeff Bezos and such got us here, feeding us everything. I'm trying to slip in some SI. Some AI here as well, and then we're gonna take the data. We're just not gonna, it's my data, that sort of thing. We're gonna share it with everybody, and ask them to evaluate it. And then when we come up with a correction action plan, it's going to be a citywide correction action plan,
Hmm.
and we're going to sit down with officials at City Hall and say, hey, here's what we got. Not only that, here's what the people want, which is most important, and then have a community-led action plan to mitigate extreme heat. That's what we plan to do. So watch for our T-shirts, watch for our coffee mugs. This says, uh, uh, "Let's cool down, P-Town. Let's beat the heat," because that bottom line, that's what this is all about.
Yeah, and I plan to do everything I can, whatever events you have, being there, or bringing you back on, especially bringing you back on, a little more often to talk about this. Make sure people are aware. And that point you made about, it's a lot of money given and spent in the study, but what will come out of the study, not only information, but ways of helping those people that might not have the means to have the proper cooling systems in their home, and things like that, and help the homeless. And all these things are geared towards helping people, not just having a booklet of information
That's right.
that you give to the city and they put on the shelf. And and even when you think about the environment services of Portsmouth, like I mentioned earlier, adding another element. It's not about just picking up trash and giving citations to people that not correctly taking care of their home, but also having that element of somebody that knows about the climate, and engage the city government, or inform the city government what needs to be done to help people, and
Mhm.
to make sure uh, that we're aware of how important it is for us to be looking at the future as far as the climate is concerned,
That's right. That's right.
and not just look away. And it has to start here locally, and whatever happens nationally, that's fine too. But
Right.
that's where all the politics and the fighting goes about funding.
Uh,
But we can start here locally. Each city can start locally and do what they can, and let the government catch up. But
well, and you're spot on, or you're spot on with that.
yeah.
Government is extremely important in such.
Hmm.
But citizens, have to move out of their complacency box into their action box, and move things forward on their own and such. So they need to, if they want to do something in their community, they should take the lead on that with the assistance of government, not not often with the permission of government, but unless it requires that, but with the assistance of government. Example, if they want to start an air conditioner replacement program, you go right ahead. If they want to start a campaign around preserving trees in their community, you go right ahead. If they want to
Hmm.
start uh, a community-based survey, that looks at the age of air conditioners, and maybe the efficiency air conditioners in their community, then then go right ahead. Communities have got to take ownership of these issues, and as we know, government can be no or slow. You know,
Hmm.
so 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 while we know what's over here, we need to go ahead and take action over here. I am so excited,
Yeah,
and then this could lead to other things in the community as well. We're working on some other projects, which I'll announce in the coming weeks and such. But uh, and there's all kinds of resources out there that we're plugged into, that we're bringing into our community. Example, this summer, check this out.
yeah.
We're gonna have 8 interns. Is that right? Eight interns. That's nine. Well, we're gonna have nine. We're gonna have nine interns. I forgot this other guy who's coming in as well. We're gonna have nine interns.
Yeah.
You know. And we're going to deploy them out in our community doing projects, either in person or virtually and such. But it's going to be all about lifting up our community, forwarding our community, bringing the resources necessary to people who need them most.
You know, Gary, and as we wind down, I, I I think the community is ready for that because for the last few years we've been having these days of cleanup, and the next one is coming up on the 20th of this month, and so that's an opportunity for education, because that cleanup, it has a lot to do with the community getting out there, making sure they clean up their own areas and things like that, and not letting trash build up because that could affect the economy as well. I mean,
Right. Yeah.
climate as well.
That's right.
But that's an opportunity to incorporate the education to that project about cleanup.
Right.
Getting the community involved, making sure you clean your own space and taking care of your own space.
It's about empowerment. It's about capacity building in our communities. It's about ownership of our communities. We own them and such, and we don't need to be informed about our communities. We need to be empowered around our communities. We need to we need to have the authority, and exercise the authority to take action and such. Community engagement moves on the spectrum. You can just walk up to somebody and say, "Yo, hey, there's a piece of trash over there. We need to pick that up."
Yeah.
Or on the other side of the spectrum, you can say, "You know what? That's a problem, and we need a policy to prevent trash from being littered on our streets. And let's build a coalition, and let's take our coalition to formulate an action plan, and let's take that action plan and put it out in the community at the same time. Let's take our action plan, the city council, and get some new policies, and vote, etc., etc. Beyond that, let's get some funding, etc." So we're moving beyond the let's educate, to empowerment and such. Yeah.
That's good. Look, and I know you have to go. You have a meeting you have to go. You're in New York for a reason. But the last thing I want, as a scientist, we just had the total eclipse come by. And what I've noticed this time, people are excited about it. But what I've noticed, people have been connecting this time, connecting a spiritual element to what's going on, that's been going on for years in nature. And a lot of people, and I never heard it like this during the eclipse. I haven't seen a lot of eclipse, but never heard people, people always were going out and trying to watch it and see it because it's an amazing event happening, Earth thing. But I've heard a lot of people connecting spiritual, having a spiritual connection with what's happening. And as a scientist, what do you think about that? And is it because the world is the way it is now? People seeing, you know, things happening that they say, I never thought we would get to this point. Morally or immorally, and things like that are happening. So they are
Right.
looking for something
That's right.
spiritual. And
And you know what? Uh, the thing about the eclipse is that it unites us.
mhm.
It's a heavenly, rare, unique event that we all come together, no matter what our socioeconomic status, what our educational attainment, where we live geographically. It is a solemn, event that unites us in a way that we never thought possible before. And just think, if we could take that same force that an eclipse has to unite us like that, what if we could unite together at one time, in one place, around poverty? What if we
Yeah.
could use that same eclipse toyed energy around health disparities? What if we could use that same ecliptoid, around war and such, and eliminate that? Bring us together. What the eclipse does, it is spiritual, it is heavenly, it is unique. But what it does is it unites us in a way that no one thought possible, and that's power. Okay, and if we can take that power and direct it, man, oh man, oh man, we can have all kinds of change.
Wow, what a way to end that. And thank you, Dr. Gary Harris, for always coming on the Slim Nations One-on-Ones podcast and giving us great information. We really appreciate you. And we will continue to do this. And we'll be watching for all the things you're going to do right here in the city of Portsmouth about involving around, the project that you talked about today with climate and
So,
climate control.
so let's cool down, P Town. Let's
Let's
beat the
cool
heat.
down P-Town. I
That's right.
hear you.
Let's beat the heat.
Let's
Let's make
beat
it
the heat.
happen. Yeah.
Let's
Thanks,
save
Evan.
let's save some lives. Yeah.
There you go. Exactly.
Okay.
Thanks
Take
so much,
care.
Evan. All
All
right.
right.
Okay.
We'll be in touch.
All right. Be safe.
All
Talk to
right.
you later.
Thanks everybody, and thanks for watching. And remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share this show. We'll see you next time. Take care.